Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck. Alright, so Jordan and Jaw left yesterday and they're off on further adventures, and today's kind of a rainy day, so it's not much of a day to be outside. And since I haven't done one of these in a while, I've decided it's time to do another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck. It's been, like I said, Jordan and Jaw have been here for about the past 10 days, and before that I spent a week in California over the Christmas holidays. So yeah, it's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. So today what we're going to try is pork tenderloin Diablo from our friend Alex Petrini. Now, those of you who know me know that Alex had me with the word Diablo. So this looks good. It's basically a pork tenderloin, and it's got some horseradish sauce and all sorts of other good things. And I'm actually looking forward to trying this. So let's get going with pork tenderloin Diablo. Alright, so here's the ingredients for our pork tenderloin Diablo. First off, got to have a little horseradish sauce because that's what's going to give you the bite. Some cayenne pepper, a little bit of butter, some Dijon mustard, some chicken broth, salt and pepper to taste, oil, it says actually vegetable oil. I'm going to use olive oil because that's just me. Some heavy cream, chives, and a pork tenderloin. Now, this recipe actually calls for 1 pound of pork tenderloin, but I could only find a 2-pound chunk, so we're actually going to double up this recipe because, you know what, the ingredients sound really good, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be good to begin with. So the first thing the recipe says is to brown your pork tenderloin, but since the picture that comes with the recipe says that it's cut into little pieces, and my pork tenderloin isn't, I got to start by cutting mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut each of these pieces of meat into about 1-inch thick slices. Now, some of you have kind of laughed at me in the past for using steak knives to do all my cutting, and fortunately I found my regular cutlery in the storage locker recently, so I can use a real knife now. Isn't that nice? Now, before we start this next process, they recommend that you preheat your oven to 375, so I'm going to get going on that. So what I'm doing now is I'm heating up my oil, in this case olive oil, on a skillet at high heat. Now I got to cheat a little bit because what they want you to do is they want you to use an oven-proof skillet, and my skillet has plastic on the handle. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to heat up my my meat on the skillet that I have, and then I'm going to transfer the whole concoction into this 9x13 pan, and we'll just do the oven work in this. But it just means we're going to have more than one thing to clean up. But you know what, that's a better option than having to go out and buy another skillet just because this one has a plastic handle. So right now I'm waiting for the oil to heat up a little bit, and then I'm going to put my my slices of the pork tenderloin in there. We're going to cook it for about 4 minutes on one side. I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste. Actually, what I'm trying to do is cut down on the sodium a little bit, and I don't really think that I'm going to need the salt flavor that much. So I think I'm going to skip the salt, but I'm going to put a lot of pepper because I like pepper. So apparently I just learned something new about my new camera. Jordan kind of told me about this, but I didn't realize the way it deals with longer files. Apparently there's a limit to how long a single file can be, and apparently on this next scene I exceeded that limit, and as a result it doesn't just stop recording when you hit the limit, it just basically turns the file into nothing. So the scene I'm supposed to have here is supposed to be of me cooking the tenderloin meat for about 4 minutes on one side at high heat, and then removing it and placing it into the pan to go into the oven. Like I said, apparently that scene went too long, and as a result I didn't get any footage from that, and I didn't discover it until just now when I was trying to edit it. So you're gonna have to use your imagination a little bit. You know, just put the meat into the pan, cook it for 4 minutes on one side. I put, you know, the salt and pepper if you want to do that. I put a lot of pepper on it, and then I transferred it to that pan to go into the oven. So like I said, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to use your imagination on that. And I guess I got still some things to learn about the new camera. And we're gonna throw this into the oven now for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, we're 25 minutes later. Let's take the meat out. Oh yeah, that looks good. I'm just gonna put that aside for now because we don't need that for the next few minutes. All right, now I'm gonna go back to my saute pan. Basically, I've got a cup of chicken broth. This is, remember, I'm doing twice the recipe, so the normal recipe calls for half a cup, but since I'm doubling everything, it's a full cup. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw that into my fry pan at about medium heat. And we are gonna bring that to a boil. All right, as we start approaching the cook temperature here, the recipe recommends just kind of scraping off some of the burned on stuff from the meat a little bit. I guess that gives flavor to the sauce, to the chicken broth. And just as a little side dish, I've always been a fan of Brussels sprouts, so I'm going to steam some Brussels sprouts too. All right, now that my chicken broth has been brought up to a kind of a slow boil, I'm going to mix in my concoction here. This is 4 tablespoons of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons each of really hot sauerkraut and Dijon mustard, and a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And I'm basically just going to whisk this in here, kind of mix it up a little bit, and we're going to cook it for about 4 minutes. Since I want to get every last drop here, I'm going to use my rubber scraper to get it out, because this is where the real flavor comes from. Good to the last drop. And then I'm just going to use my little whisk here to kind of mix it all in. Oh, it smells good. And we're going to cook this just until it thickens up a little bit, and that, they say, takes 3 or 4 minutes. Oh yeah, and the Brussels sprouts are starting to look good. They're going to be ready in just a minute. Alright, this has been about 4 minutes now. It's been kind of reduced to a thick sauce, which is what they say. So we're going to take it off, and we're going to stir in a little butter. About 2 tablespoons worth. We'll just kind of whisk that in. And then we're going to stir in 2 teaspoons of fresh chives. And that may be a little bit more than 2 teaspoons, but I like chives, so sue me. And then I am just going to pour this all over my meat. Smells fantastic. And just because I didn't manage to coat everything a little bit, I'm gonna get the little basting brush here and just make sure we get nice coverage all over all the meat. Alright, and here's the final product now for the all-important taste test. Yeah, very good. I would probably put a little bit more of the horseradish in there, and I might mix up the Dijon mustard with maybe a good spicy brown just to give it a little bit more of a bite. But it's very good the way it is. No complaints whatsoever. And of course, I love my Brussels sprouts. So I hope you enjoyed that recipe. I'll definitely post it in the description below of this video. Since it's a recipe from allrecipes.com, I'm just going to provide a link for it. Because, you know, why should I retype everything out when it's already there? So I think that's all that I have for today. I would like to thank my newest Patreon, Palace Meeks. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And for the rest of you, thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit!
The National Weather Service in Fort Worth has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson County in north central Texas, north central Bosque County in central Texas, northwestern Hill County in central Texas until 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. At 5:21 p.m. Central Standard Time, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Pecan Plantation to 10 miles north of Meridian, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard, 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Mansfield, Burleson, Cleburne, Crowley, Keene, Joshua, Alvarado, Rendon, Venus, Itasca, Grandview, Godley, Bloom, Covington, Cross Timber, Cleburne State Park, Rio Vista, Weir Oaks, and Morgan. This includes Interstate 35W between mile markers 6 and 37. A tornado watch remains in effect until 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for central and north central Texas. For your protection, get inside a sturdy structure and stay away from windows.